Wow, guys. Welcome to FPL Mate, your best mate for fantasy Premier League content for the 2023-24 season. My name is Dan. What a game week. What a game week. Absolutely insane. And what a finish to it as well, with Manchester City absolutely dominating there. In particular, one man, Phil Foden, with the hat-trick. 17 points, plus 3 bonus to come. 20-pointer for Foden. Absolutely crazy stuff. Any Foden owners out there right now, you guys want to be celebrating like crazy right now. Apparently a few people benched Foden as well. If so, yeah, that's rough. I wouldn't be too harsh on yourself like Foden. Maybe the last couple of games has been playing a little bit wide. Maybe not as involved as you would hope. But yeah, today he was certainly playing very, very close to the striker. And you feel like having both Haaland and KDB around him really, really benefited his game. So yeah, a crazy one. Absolutely mad. Absolutely mad. And guys, I'm not even going to lie to you. I've got my joy back. We got 93 points. We not be 93 when Foden's got his bonus points. A full house of attacking returns. Every single one of my attackers got an attacking return somehow, which is absolutely incredible. A huge rank boost for me. And I guess it just goes to show that you only need one game week and you can just completely turn your season around. You know, you can really change rank significantly just through one good game week. All it takes is like a Foden masterclass, as we saw today, and you know, you could go absolutely crazy. Obviously, did okay with the captaincy there as well, going for Palmer. I know a lot of people went Haaland. I went for Palmer instead. Anyone out there go for Watkins? Because you guys must have some crazy scores as well. I imagine there's a few people out there that have like 100+ points. Harry in the chat. I'm the guy from Twitter with the same team as you this week. What are the chances? 4 in a million. Yes, there are only 4 people in the top 1 million who have got the same team as me. You know, you guys know I've been trying to keep it tight, not we'll try and discourage, I guess, team copiers. Not that there's going to be too many people trying to copy my team, but anyone who is, but yeah, just by pure chance, Harry in the chat is one of 4 people in the top 1 million with the same team as me, which is absolutely crazy. But yeah, we're getting back in there. 173k, I believe, is my live rank, which is pretty nuts. Yeah. Can we push on from here? I hope so. Like, for me, guys, I don't have any Liverpool players still, so that's definitely a big topic of discussion that we got to talk about today. I think defenders as well. A lot of people struggling with defenders at the moment, myself included. Again, big topic. We got to talk about the likes of these Man City players. Are they essential? If so, which ones? We know that Man City have got a double game week in 25. Just before that, they've got a nice game, a home game against Everton, which, by the way, guys, I'm pretty confident we're going to be getting early team news for that Man City Everton game as well. So if we can get early team news for that, it's going to really help you guys. If you haven't already got your 3 Man City players, I think it's going to be really beneficial, really useful to try and get that second or third Man City player in your team and use that information we have for the early team news. So, of course, we'll be talking about that for the Gameweek 24 deadline on Saturday. But for now, there's still lots to talk about. There's still lots to think about and lots of things that can still happen. And I think we need to kind of discuss a few bits. I do want to drop a full, proper kind of chip strategy video. I'm going to do that probably on Thursday, because I want to. There is one game of football that we need to find out about first, and that is, I'll just throw it on screen, Aston Villa versus Chelsea, which is in the FA Cup. It's on Wednesday. This game, now you'd probably say Aston Villa right now are favourites from this game, but whatever happens in this game is going to have a big impact on the kind of teams that will be blanking in Game Week 29, and will really help us plan. Which is definitely something we need to talk about. We've got our thingy here. We've got our schedule here. This is my copy that I'm just can edit live. I think the chances of Chelsea Spurs double in Game Week 25 is next to nothing now. So I think we may as well just kind of maybe accept that one's not going to happen anymore. So yeah, let's merge these, because this is what we like to do. So we'll merge that, and we'll merge that as well. because I don't think either of those are going to be double game weeks anymore. I think there's still a tiny chance that Spurs versus Chelsea happens in game week 26, depending on Wednesday's result. But it is a really small chance, so that might be worth getting rid of. But I'm actually gonna leave it there for now. And of course, we've still got that chance of a double game week for Bournemouth and Luton. And that's going to be huge for Solanke. I think anyone who sold Solanke maybe recently or is selling Solanke, you maybe want to give Solanke a miss for Game Week 26, for example. Maybe looking to bring in Darwin or Tony for Game Week 25. I think that could definitely work out in your favour. But then after that, you probably, if we can get a double game week for 27 or 28, we definitely do want to have a good think about getting Solanke back in. I mean, I don't have him. I definitely feel like I need to think about that. And then, of course, we'll Game Week 29. On the end there, the only teams that are guaranteed fixtures so far are Burnley, Brentford, Tottenham and Fulham. These are the only teams that are guaranteed fixtures for Game Week 29 right now. And depending on the Chelsea versus Aston Villa result, that's going to either throw Chelsea and Arsenal back into the mix, or it's going to throw Aston Villa versus West Ham back in the mix. So we're going to get one of those two. We're going to get Chelsea and Arsenal playing in 29, or Aston Villa and West Ham playing in 29. If Aston Villa win, they won't play in 29. If Chelsea win, they won't play in 29. So I think the more likely scenario is that we're going to have Chelsea and Arsenal playing in 29, and in which case that is going to be quite significant really, because you know, some people have like the likes of Cole Palmer, or maybe even more players than Cole Palmer. You've got Gusto in your team. If Chelsea are blanking in 26, I think that's likely, and then they also blank in 29, then you probably want to just remove those players. If they don't blank in 29, then maybe you actually want to keep on those players. I think a big thing for Game Week 26, I'm coming round to this idea more and more, is actually the idea of playing a free hit in Game Week 26, which I definitely need to go and in and have a proper look at how a free hit 26 strategy would work, because I do think there's some opportunities there. But I think particularly if you are loaded up on Liverpool players already, maybe you've got like a Richarlison in your team, maybe you've got Pedro Porro in your team, maybe you've got Palmer in your team, and then triple Liverpool maybe. And now you might think, okay, Luton play against Sheffield United and then have a double game week. Maybe I want to add a Luton Town player to my team as well. Then you're gonna be screwed for Game Week 26. But if you kind of steer into the crash and just accept, okay, I'm gonna have so many players blanket in Game Week 26, then I'm just gonna go all in on Game Week 25, all in on those double game week players, despite the fact that they blank in 26. And free hit out of that situation in Game Week 26. Because the more I look at this season, the more I think a free hit chip is not going to be as useful as perhaps previous seasons we've seen the free hit be. There's a couple of game weeks that are potential for free hit, but yeah, not as much as we've maybe perhaps seen in the past. Free hit is usually a very powerful chip. I don't think maybe as much. I think it's definitely a good reason to kind of use it in combination with Game Week 25, particularly if you're already kind of very much deep into the Game Week 25, doublers, then perhaps Game Week 26 is going to be big for you to play that free hit. We got a super chat here from Heros, who says 29k rank hit. Congratulations. Very nice indeed. What do you think about a free hit for Game Week 24? Bringing in players from Luton Town, Liverpool and Cunha. No, Heros. I would be doing exactly what I just said. You know, when you say Game Week 24, it's Game Week 25. That is the big one. That is the big one for Luton and Liverpool. I mean, if you don't have any Liverpool players, like the kind of free hit strategy often works both ways. If you have a lot of players for the double game week, but not enough players for the blank game week, then that means you probably free hit in the blank game week. But if you find that you're pretty well covered, you're pretty well set up for blank game week 26, but maybe you don't have any Liverpool players, maybe you've got no Man City players or Brentford or, anyone really, then maybe you actually do it the other way around. And you bring in all of those Liverpool players for Game Week 25 on a free hit. And then for Game Week 26, you don't have any Liverpool players, you don't have any Luton players, maybe you don't have any Chelsea or Spurs players, or maybe not many of those players. And then you can kind of play it that way, so you kind of do the exact reverse. And it's just as viable, but as always, these strategies are team dependent. And I think something that a lot of people struggle with is they just want a strategy, literally just like spoon-fed to them, when actually it might not be the best for their team. And I think the top FPL managers are able to craft a chip strategy, gather information just like anyone else, but kind of adopt a chip strategy that is unique to their situation. And I do think there is a huge opportunity for those of you guys who are already loaded up on Liverpool, Spurs, like Richarlison and, Palmer. And maybe you want to throw in a Luton Town player. Maybe you want to go for Adebayo, or maybe you want to go for a Doughty at Luton. See how they do against Sheffield United, and then you've got the double game week for them in 25, free hit out of them in game week 26. I think that is going to actually be a really, really strong strategy for those people in that unique scenario. But anyway, I've spoken about that enough. I don't think that's going to be for everyone. For me personally, I don't think that's going to be the play. I think looking at my team and moving forward with it, I do need to add a Liverpool player somehow. I think the player I'm looking at the most is Trent Alexander-Arnold. And I've got the likes of Trippier, Porro, Estupiñán. I'd be willing to part ways with any of these players and throw in a Trent for this game week against Burnley and then the double. And a great thing is that I don't actually have that many players blanking. Right now, I only have 3 blankers for game week 26. So I'm not really concerned with that. Not really too concerned with that at all. So, Brennan Johnson still probably needs to go from my FPL team. He's just no longer nailed. And he's going to be even less nailed when Heung-min Son returns. And that's going to be soon, right? We're talking game week 25. We're going to see Son back. And that's going to really throw into question Brennan Johnson's minutes, I guess. So, yeah, I think throw in Trent, have him for 2 game weeks, and then maybe in game week 26... maybe I'll have 2 transfers by that point. Maybe I remove Johnson. Something like that. I think it could work pretty well. So, yeah, maybe we think about that. Maybe we think about that one. But, yes. Anyway, I want to find my graphic of the... I can't remember where I put it. Where did I put this? Is it this? No, it's not that. I want to have a look at the schedule of the rest of the FPL season and kind of how it's looking right now. And I think it is this image here. Yes, it's this image here. Okay, so we're going to load this up for us on our screens. Let's get this open. Can you guys see that? Can you guys make that out? Probably just about. Looking pretty good on screen there. Not perfect, but it's okay, isn't it? And we kind of got to look through some of these. Now, some people in the chat I've already seen have said, free hit. What about game week 29? Is game week 29 maybe a free hit week? I think the big problem with game week 29 is it worth it? And I think it also depends on whether you have a wild card or not. So, if you have a wild card, I think what you probably do is for game week 29, we know we're going to get some teams playing. We know we're going to have a Brentford. So, you can pick up a Tony. We know we are going to have Spurs. So, you can pick up the likes of Richarlison or maybe bring in Heung-min Son back in, a Pedro Porro perhaps. And then outside of that, we probably have a good chance of getting Arsenal and Chelsea. But they play against each other. A big problem with this game week, is there's probably not going to be that many points available, even if you do have a full 11. You've got like Arsenal and Chelsea playing off against each other, which is not ideal. You probably want at least one Arsenal attacker from that game, and a Cole Palmer. But you're going to have like a Saka and a Palmer in your team anyway, and those are going to be the big ones for that game week. Outside of that, we're looking at Spurs and Brentford. You should probably be looking to pick up maybe a Tony in the near future anyway, because obviously Tony has got that double game week, no blanks. We've got Spurs. You guys are going to have Spurs players by this point anyway. So, seriously looking at this, I think it's going to be pretty easy to claw together 8 players. And I think even if you get to 11, is it going to be a mega score? No. The difference between 8 players and 11 players in game week 29 is probably only going to be like 10 points. Because there's not really too many huge opportunities for points, and it's going to be difficult to predict them. There's so many big teams, big players, simply just not going to play in game week 29. So what I would be looking at to do, and then this is more than likely like 90% of what I'm going to be doing, is I'm just going to work towards getting maybe 9 players for game week 29. trying to get 9 players for Game Week 29, and then looking to wildcard in Game Week 30 or 31. I think that works. Twisted Sparky says Arsenal could do all right versus Chelsea. Yeah, absolutely. But we're gonna have those players anyway. We've all got Saka and an Arsenal defender, right? Pretty much. Maybe not everyone, but pretty much all of us. Some of you guys might even already have 3 Arsenal players. I think if you have 2 already and just bring in 1 more, you're covered. If you've got, you know, one Chelsea player in Palmer, great. We're up to 4 players. If you've got 1 or 2 Spurs players, we're up to 6 players. And we're already covered it. Add Tony, that's 7 players. 7 good players for Game Week 29 that you would kind of probably like to own anyway. Add 1 or 2 more for Game Week 29, and suddenly you've got a strong enough team, a team that is good enough for a very low score. What is very likely to be a very low scoring game week like 29. And again, this is not going to apply to everyone. Different people are going to have slightly different teams in different situations. I don't really see a huge benefit in free hitting in game week 29. I think what I want from a free hit is I want to, you know, excuse my team for a week. But if you've got a wild card, well, you can just remove those players who are unlikely to play. You know, remove your Liverpool players. Remove your Man City players. Liverpool and Man City play against each other in Game Week 28 anyway. You're probably not going to want to be on triple Liverpool, triple City by Game Week 29. You're probably already looking at removing Liverpool players for Game Week 26, right? So after that, we've got Forest. After that, we've got Man City. So you're not going to have too many Liverpool players. You might have, you know, a couple of Man City players by this point. You maybe got 1 Liverpool player by this point as well. But if you haven't got those guys, you're going to want them back, but you're not going to want them for Game Week 29. You don't really need Liverpool players. The only good game Liverpool have between 26 and 29 is that Forest game. Outside, between 26 and 29, Liverpool blank in 26, more than likely blank in 29, and one of the other game weeks, one of the 2 game weeks they do play is against Man City. So you're going to want to remove these players anyway, and you are going to want them back. So that's where we come to game week 30, 31, and you wildcard them back into your team. And I think this is the strategy. And it doesn't require a free hit to do that. Just do not see any significant benefit to a free hit in game week 29. I just don't think the game week is going to be high scoring enough. Often I do like to, you know, do a free hit in a blank game week, but it just doesn't seem like the one. I think a free hit is probably more powerful in 25 or 26. And I think it's going to be more powerful later on in the season. Because really, you want 20 to kind of make 20, 25 points using a free hit more than your usual team. I think it's going to be pretty easy to you know, come within 10 points of a free what the average free hit team will do anyway. And I think in particular, I think it's a kind of almost an opportunity to not free hit in game week 29, because so many people will be panicking. Like, they'll just do a panic free hit. Like, you got to remember, us guys, you know, who are, you know, really into our FPL content and you know, consuming FPL content, looking up those numbers, looking up those stats, figuring out, you know, looking at tables like this and figuring out who is likely to blank, when they're likely to blank, who's going to double, etc., etc. We are a minority of the FPL player base. The majority of the FPL player base will get to game week 29, go, oh, I did really not plan for this. They'll panic out their free hit chip. Probably only gain 5 to 10 points more than us, who aren't free hitting in game week 29. And then later on in the season, when a better opportunity presents itself, or alternatively, in game week 26 or 25, when that opportunity comes up, those are going to be the weeks for me, I think. I mean, it's all predictions at this point, right, guys? But yeah, it looks like that those are going to be the places to gain points and to gain ranks and to really, you know, beat our rivals. Because even though, you know, we are the engaged, we're the FPL nerds. Come on, guys, let's throw our hands up in the air and admit we are the FPL nerds, right? We are. Come on. But we are still in competition with those who maybe aren't nerding out quite as much as us. So it's very, very crucial that we do try and take these little advantages, get these little advantages, try and see the little different ways of playing FPL that maybe other people might not see where we can. Because that's the skill gap in FPL these days. Like, information is so out there, easy to obtain. You know, the skill gap in FPL is probably smaller than it has been ever before, because the access to information is so much more significant than ever before. So we really do need to take advantage of these little things. And I think there will be a lot of people panic free hitting in game week 25, 26, and 29. But if you can plan around it and use your free hit chip with more intention, then I think that works. And to be fair, there is perhaps ways of using a free hit in game week 29 with intention, for sure. But that's going to be, you know, for those of you guys who just want to have triple City, triple Liverpool. And I'm not really sure if that's going to be the play either way. It's going to be, again, it's going to be team dependent. But I think, genuinely, I think we're probably going to have, all of us are probably going to have probably six or seven players for game week 29. 6 or 7 of the best players for game week 29 anyway. And if we were to use a free hit, we'd just be picking up players that aren't actually that good, that appealing, who probably more than likely only get 2 points each anyway, to complete an 11 with a bunch of 2-pointers. That's not how we want to play a free hit. Surely. Let's see. Mohammed says, 1,100 watching. Can we get to 350 likes? Oh, I don't know. That's bold. I mean, maybe. I mean, I appreciate any likes, guys. But let's, if we can maybe shoot for 300 likes by the end of the stream, I'll be happy with that, guys. So yeah, smash that like button. Really does help out the channel. Really appreciate it, guys. So there we go, guys. That is a brief introduction of what's coming up soon, and then different ways you can kind of play it. There's not going to be one answer that suits all. I'm going to try and come up with some different strategies that are going to suit some different people, and really put it together in a nice video later this week with some good graphics. That will probably be out on Thursday. But yes, again, big things to consider before you rush out your chips is where everything's going to be. This graphic is not 100% up to date, as we obviously know about Liverpool, obviously, and Luton also going to be doubling in game week 25. But yeah, just to give you a lay of the land, there is more opportunities coming up in the future for our chips, for our wildcards potentially, for triple captains. Although I have to say, guys, Erling Haaland against Chelsea and Brentford again. I'm tempted. I'm really tempted. I think Erling Haaland might be the captain of choice for game week 25. What do you guys think? Like right now, it feels right. It feels right, doesn't it? It really, really does. But anyway, guys, I want to look at a few other things because I think I'm going to get an idea of where you guys are at with captaincy for this game week. I'm going to bring up the predicted points for game week 24. But before I do that, I do want to get your kind of more candid opinion of who you think you might be captaining for game week 24. So we're going to start a poll straight away. Who is your... well, actually, I'll put who is the best game week 24 captain. I think Erling Haaland's going to be popular. I know a load of you guys are going to want to captain Foden, so I'm going to put him on there. I'm really not sure who else I would go for. Like, I've got Haaland as the captain's armband. I mean, De Bruyne, Palmer. Well, probably wouldn't go for Watkins, would you? Would you go for Richarlison? Maybe. I don't know. I tell you what, guys. Why don't you throw out in the chat right now who you're thinking about captaining for game week 24, and whoever is like the most popular kind of comments in the chat, I'll throw them all in. Jota's a good shout, Ben. Yep, I like Jota against Burnley. Decent. I think maybe we've put in Diogo Jota in there for option number 2. Yeah, Jota and Haaland seem to be the big picks. Yeah, I get that. Yeah, a couple of people are saying Darwin. Not sure about that one. But he's popular in the chat. Oh, he's very popular in the chat. Okay, so Haaland, Richarlison, Jota, Darwin seem to be the popular picks. Let's. If you really want Darwin in there, I guess we put in Darwin. All right, we'll put Darwin in there, and then we'll put other as well. So, guys, get your votes in, and we'll see where we're at. I can't see Darwin beating too many of these. But hey, I might be wrong. I might be wrong. Never really considered Darwin for a captain against Burnley. But if he's still on penalties, I guess that's going to be nice for him. A few people saying Richarlison as well. Richarlison captain is click other. Click other, lads. KDB captain is click other. Trent captain is click other. Harry, you say not you watch my content this season. You're going to watch every week now. My clone. Gisarta's Palmer to Jota. Oh, for real? Not sure about that one, Chief. Caleb says make a wildcard team. I don't think I am going to make a wildcard video this week. Scott says, are you considering Johnson to Jota? You know what? If I could afford it, I would. I probably would do that. But one, it just gives me a huge benching headache. And two, I can't afford it anyway. So just not going to happen. So yeah, no Johnson to Jota for me. But I do like the idea of picking up a Liverpool player. So I think maybe Trippier to Trent. I can't do Trent either, can I? I don't really know where I'm going to go. Honestly, before this game week, I was thinking Watkins to Darwin maybe. Could be a play, but if I'm totally honest, I'm not totally convinced by that one. So I don't know. I don't know how I'm going to get a Liverpool player. Like, do I want to take a -4 really as well? I mean, I could do like some kind of -4. So it would be like, I don't know. I feel like I want Trent more long term. Could I do some kind of double transfer? Maybe I'll remove, if I remove Pedro Porro as well. That could be interesting. I'm going to do something like that and that to, like, Jota. Oh, wait. Diogo Jota. And, don't know, someone else who has 4.8 million. Or we could do the Trippier move instead. I think I wouldn't mind removing Trippier or Porro, but I think because Porro has that blank, I could really, really start to reduce my amount of blanking players for Game Week 26. That would be really, really helpful. Really helpful. But yeah, don't know. Still lots to think about for me. Johnson is definitely a player I could downgrade though. You know, I could even take, you know, like, we could do like Alexander-Arnold. And then we could go for like a cheap midfielder. We can maybe go for like a Garnacho or someone. It might be nice to try and set up for Game Week 29 for me and try and bring in a midfielder who's pretty cheap. Who have we got for like 5.5 or less? Let's order them by... I'm just going to order them by transfers in, I guess. Usually says that. I mean, yeah, Garnacho. But yeah, I think Man United probably make it through in the FA Cup. To be honest, it would be nice if they did get knocked out of the FA Cup, because then you could have Garnacho ready for Sheffield United, which would be pretty decent, wouldn't it? But yeah, outside of that, I don't know. Barkley for the double game week? Is that mad? Is that too crazy? He has been returning recently. Big overperformance. But Sheffield United next and a double game week after that. Is that too crazy? Is that too out there? Hey, it's a consideration. And according to my my little thing going on here, Luton could very well have a fixture in Game Week 29. It's going to be one of Luton or Manchester United. So maybe that pits Barkley and Garnacho against each other. Something like that could potentially work. Because then I would have to take a -4 to do this, which I don't love. I don't love removing Trippier for a -4. But it would give me 2 additional double game week players. And it would leave me in a situation where I only have 3 players blanking as well. Which would be pretty nice. It's interesting though, isn't it? Don't know if I'm going to do it. That might be a step too far. But it's fun. It's fun. It's something, isn't it? Yeah. Well, it's got all week to think about this. I'm not gonna dwell on this too much. I would like a Liverpool player, and I can't really see too many ways of getting in a Liverpool player. I don't even really feel a need to be tripled up or even doubled up on Liverpool players. Really, I think Jota is not really a very good long-term pick. He's very nice in the short term, but I think might damage me in the long term. And I'm a little bit worried when Salah's back, maybe minutes are reduced. Not really interested in getting Salah until my wild card in game week 30 or 31, to be honest. So not worried about that. It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting. Barkley blanks in 26. Yes, he does. He does. But it wouldn't be an issue for me because I would only have 3 players from those teams. I don't even know. Like, if I was to go for Barkley this week, who would I even bench? Like, say, pretend Johnson is Barkley for a minute. Who would I actually feel comfortable with benching? Certainly not Foden, Saka, Palmer, De Bruyne, Watkins, João Pedro, or Haaland, which is my entire attack. So I don't even, maybe it just doesn't work. Maybe it doesn't work for me. Barkley would be legendary cool to cap in a double. Now, I would never be captaining him. Never. But anyway, looking at the captaincy poll in the chat right now, it's Haaland 62%, Jota 21%. So Haaland the big favourite. Jota, still a decent amount of people going for him with 21%. Darwin on 8%, so not very popular. 9% on other. Let's have a look at what the predicted points are according to the Fantasy Football Hub algo. It's always interesting to see what the predicted points are. So it's putting Saka and Richarlison joint at top on 5.8 predicted points. And then Haaland in there as number 3 for 5.7. But I don't know what his predicted minutes are like. If we get confirmation that Haaland's starting against Everton, I mean, do you back the early kickoff though? James says, what about Hwang? He has good fixtures if he comes back soon. Good point. Could see him back by game week 25, couldn't we? Can I afford Hwang? Not sure where Hwang is at price-wise at the moment. I think he's a little bit more expensive, isn't he? Oh, no, 5.5. Neto's at 5.6. I don't think... I can't afford 5.5, though, can I? If I was to do Trippier to Trent... Liverpool... How much would that leave me? I'd be 5.4. So no, not quite enough. Yeah, there's not too much going on at that at that kind of price. It is Garnacho, really. It's the guy that you'd think about, wouldn't you? But I'm not going to play. I wouldn't play Garnacho this game week. And, even Barkley. I don't know. Would I punt for him ahead of João Pedro this week? I don't know. Yeah, I can't. It's a difficult... If I wanted to do the Trent move, then it is a little bit more difficult. The alternative is to do Diogo Jota, which, like I say, it does stuff me up a little bit longer term, but I do think he's a fantastic pick for this game week at least, and game week 25 is going to be decent, and I'll be looking to remove him straight away after as well. That will leave me a lot more money to go for maybe a different defender instead of Trippier, or, I could even, maybe downgrade Porro. Who are the big defenders to go for at the moment? Could do Doughty. We could do this way instead. That's not bad, is it? That's not bad at all. Is that the play? Is that the play, guys? Doughty in for Sheffield United. Start him against Sheffield United, because I would start him against Sheffield United. And then have him for the double game week. Probably gets a little bit cooked by Liverpool. But it's not bad, right? And then we think that more than likely, Luton are probably going to have a fixture in 29. So it sets me up for that as well. Like Nori, chat is saying. Surely that Doughty. Sexy Beast says, Luton possible double again soon. Yep. Of course, with that Bournemouth game, that could come up soon. So maybe that would be even more beneficial to have that Luton player. But it would mean only having Jota for the Liverpool double game week. That's risky, right? That's seriously risky. Only going in for that double game week with Jota. Hey guys, I'm not going to lie. I not loving the idea of taking a -4, but this might be the play. It might be the play. Yeah, everyone's saying new Doughty's blanking in 26. That's fine, because if you look at this team, how many blankers do I have for game week 26? Palmer, Jota, and Doughty. And I'd have 2 more transfers between now and 26 to resolve that situation if I needed to. So, I don't think that's an issue. I think I would be looking to remove Jota most likely, or I could keep him for the Nottingham Forest game as well. There's options there. There is actually options there, to be fair. Guys, I think this might be the one. It might be the one. But it does, again, I mean, who am I benching? Like, is it João Pedro against Spurs? Is it Watkins against United? It's going to be an absolute benching headache. It could be a case of waiting for early team news, and if we find out that De Bruyne, Foden, or Haaland are not starting, then I'm going to need to have that cover anyway. If you find one of them's not starting. Decisions. This is the fun of FPL, right, guys? This is the fun of FPL. Right, I'm talking too much about my team today, guys. I want to talk about your teams. We've got a super chat from Nick who says, "Hey, Dan, long time. It has been a little while. It's been a minute, Nick. Hope you're doing well, though, my friend." Nick says, "I'm going to wait till closer to deadline, but plan is Bowen to a Liverpool attacker. Do you feel Diogo Jota is clear ahead of Luis Diaz?" Yeah, I pretty much do. So let's go on the Optus stats tool and just have a look through some of these Liverpool players and the kind of numbers they've been putting up recently. Let's just go past, I don't know, past 6 game weeks, I think that is. And have a look. I'm going to order by expected points. Obviously, actually, no, we'll go, because we need to do it per 90, because Jota's obviously that per 90 guy. But I do want to remove players with no low minutes. And by the way, guys, as always, if you want to check out Fantasy Football Hub and any of their wonderful tools, there is a link in the description for you guys to go check this out for yourself. Yeah, by subscribing to Fantasy Football Hub, you also support the FPL Mate channel, and it's a great service as well. I use this stuff non-stop. Yeah, guys, you guys probably know by now I wouldn't promote something. I wouldn't be using it right now in front of you guys if I didn't think it was super helpful. I know it's probably pretty small on your screen right now, but you can see that top of the expected points, which kind of takes into consideration, and this per 90, this takes into consideration XG, expected assists, all of the actions that an FPL player, an FPL asset can do. And it puts Darwin on top. No surprise to see Darwin on top. The problem is Darwin is not clinical and Jota is. So even though Darwin has higher expected points than Jota, we know by the kinds of players that these guys are, Jota is going to be more clinical, and Jota is going to make better of his expected points, of his expected goals, than a player like Darwin would. So we can see top 3 picks, best expected points, FPL points per 90, Darwin, Jota, Alexander-Arnold. Adjust for, for a clinicalness, I guess. And then you probably put Diogo Jota as the number 1 player to target for Liverpool. Now, of course, Jota's minutes do come into question as soon as Salah's back. But I've said this before, and I'll say it again. The form that he's shown recently and the ability that he's shown recently, is it not just a matter of time before we say, okay, Jota is actually genuinely one of Liverpool's best players and probably is Liverpool's best attacker behind Salah? So for how long can you keep him out of the team? For how long can a Darwin or a Diaz keep a Jota out of the team? Are a Darwin and Jota any more nailed on than a Jota at this moment? I don't know. Liverpool fans, if there's any Liverpool fans in the chat right now, let me know. When Salah is back, do you think Jota forms part of your main starting 11? I think he perhaps should be. So yeah, for me, Jota is the standout. His numbers are brilliant. He is clinical. He's him. He is him. And he's a player I've been admiring for a few game weeks anyway. So it's no surprise, for me to be gassing him up again. I just worry if he's a long-term pick. I do worry about that, particularly with blanks and Man City. You feel like after game week 25, then Jota maybe is not the best pick anymore. Gareth says Jota can play 9 too. Yep, absolutely. Mr. Scuffy misses a lot, says Darwin is more nailed. I know, yeah, and that has proven to be the case time and time again, hasn't it? And it seems that Klopp really does want to persist with Darwin, which is fine. I think Darwin is, he's better than a lot of people give him credit for. But Jota is just, I don't know. He is really, really a class footballer. Always impressed by him. We've got a super chat from Reese who says, hope you're well. Bowen to Richarlison. It depends. It depends, Reese. Because obviously Spurs do blank in Game Week 26. So can you go for like a Foden or a Jota? You know, someone who doubles in 25. Because over the next 3 game weeks, Richarlison plays twice. Over the next 3 game weeks, Liverpool players play 3 times. Man City players play 4 times. So I think that has got to be taken into consideration. I ideally, we would all bought a Richarlison before. Ideally. But if you're like me, you didn't. Maybe that's a little foolish. But hey, we've got to move towards the future. And I honestly think that, yes, Richarlison is brilliant. I wish I owned him. I really do wish I owned him right now. But in twice the amount of games, I think a Foden or a Foden or a KDB can outscore a Richarlison. I think in, you know, one more game, I think a Jota can outscore a Richarlison. So I would consider Richarlison if I didn't have too many. If you don't have too many Liverpool players, if you don't have too many, you know, Chelsea, Luton, other Spurs players as well, and you actually think, you know, I'm okay for Game Week 26, or of course, if you're saying, you know, I'm going all in on the double game week and on Chelsea and on Spurs, all of these things, and I'm just going to free hit in Game Week 26, then fine, Richarlison is definitely a player you look at picking up. Liverpool players still probably the priority, but yeah, you look at picking up these players. But I don't know, it's not going to be for everyone. It's not going to be for everyone. Maybe for me personally, I will not be looking to get Richarlison because I don't want a free hit in Game Week 26. And I'm already in a pretty good situation for Game Week 26. Chris W says, I own Simicast. He has a yellow flag. Is he a keep? No, not really. No. You know, Robertson's getting some minutes. He's definitely a player who is going to get very limited minutes. Don't see him playing much over the double game week, if at all. It's just, it's just not a player you probably want to own, I guess. But anyway. Nick Giuliano with another super chat says, sorry if I missed it. Your current plan for free hit chip. I don't have a specific plan. I've got 2 game weeks earmarked for a potential free hit. I'm going back to this graphic for a sec. I think blank game week 34 or double game week 37. Now, I'm leaning at this present moment to free hitting in game week 37. And I think part of that is because in game week 34, yes, we're going to have a couple of blankers. But depending on who the blankers are, and if there even is any, because there might not be any blanks in Game Week 34. There's a chance there's no blanks, but there's a chance like maybe 1 or 2 teams blank. One team can't blank, of course, but you know, 1 or 2 games are blanking games in Game Week 34. And if that's the case, you probably want a free hit in Game Week 34, depending on which teams blank. But if nobody blanks in Game Week 34, then what you're more than likely to have is you're going to have the best teams, you know, your Liverpools and your Man Cities, they're going to be on single game weeks. It'll actually be the weaker teams and the kind of players who are more likely to be on your bench with the double game weeks. So you're going to be in a situation where you've got Salah, Haaland, maybe, a double game with single game weeks, but you don't want to bench them, and you've got all of these other players with double game weeks. Players that you wouldn't always necessarily start, but they have double game weeks. So, in that sense, game week 34, because the big players will have single game weeks, and actually the bench players, you're probably not going to want to bench them, but you have to bench them because, you know, they're not as good as a Haaland or a, you know, a Trent or a Salah or whoever. Well, maybe you want to get those points off the bench. And in which case, is that the time to bench boost? Potentially. So that's where my head's at right now. I think Game Week 34, as long as there is no significant blanks in Game Week 34, that is where I'd be looking to bench boost. If we do find that actually, you know, maybe a Liverpool or a Man City blank in 34, then probably goes the other way and I say, okay, free hit. And then Game Week 37 will be the other one. So for me, Game Week 34 and Game Week 37, one's a free hit, one's a bench boost, not really sure. And this was kind of what I was saying. Before like, I don't think the free hit is going to be as powerful. Because if you go for a Game Week 37 free hit, well, you're just picking up the best players. You're just going to pick up the best players of the game week. But there's no real reason why you can't do that with your transfers. You want the best players for the final 2 game weeks of the season. Well, what are you waiting for? Get them in. You know, you might not need a free hit for that. Game week 34, we might not see any blanks in game week 34, in which case, again, same situation. If you're wildcarding in game week 30 or 31, you're probably going to be mostly set up for a free hit in game week 34 anyway. So again, in which case, well, the free hit is maybe not as powerful. So yeah, not sure. We'll see. Exciting. Exciting times. But that's all to come, and guys, we'll be discussing the more information we get by game week 34. Well, by game week 29, we'll have a real good idea about game week 34. We'll have a real good idea. After game week 34, we'll have a real good idea about game week 37. A real good idea. So, yeah. I'm keeping my options open at the moment. I think that's probably wise. And as long as I can cover what's coming up in the short term, plan for it, that gives me a big boost. It gives me a big advantage for the late season, which I enjoy. Because a lot, like, I think the overall FPL player base probably struggles a little bit on the late game because there is so much thinking, there is so much planning. I think us nerds can really capitalize on that one, and that's exactly what we'll try and do. Right, guys, I'm going to stream for another 10 minutes because we're coming up an hour now. We'll just do a casual Q&A. Guys, no need to put super chats in or anything like that. If you've got a question, just throw it in the chat. And as long as it's an interesting question, I'll do my best to answer it. As always, with these little mini Q&As that we do, I try not to answer the super specific questions that are really only unique to you. But if you guys have got an idea of a popular transfer that a lot of people are making this week and you want to talk about that, or, you know, there's a player in particular you want to talk about, absolutely fine, let's do it. Or you know, we can keep the conversation going about chips, strategy, blanks, priorities, whatever you like, guys, whatever you like. As long as it's not like, you know, your classic. I've got 2 free transfers. I'm willing to take a -8 hit. Would you remove this player to bring in 1 Burnley player and a pigeon into my FPL team? And I'll be like, oh, that's only really relevant to you, my brother. Right. Anyway, Joaquin says, Dan, into the top 1K. I'm iF Soccer from 100 Experts. Oh, lovely stuff. Good to see. Good to see. I hope I'm saying all of those things right, by the way. If not, awkward. Pulkit says, a comment on free transfers for this week, Dan. Thanks. You know, I think it is the time to use your free transfers this week. I would be looking to use transfers this week because I think, you know, with Liverpool and Man City in particular, we want to grab those players. Liverpool, Man City, you know, you maybe throw in Luton. They have good fixtures in game week 24 and double game weeks in 25. So actually, you perhaps want to grab these players this week. So yeah, would be looking to spend them rather than save them this week. John says Tony before Darwin. I think potentially yes. But if you're dismissing the free hit 26 strategy, then, and particularly if you want a wild card after 29, you don't want a free hit in 29 either. And then Tony really is your friend. Tony is like your best friend for no blanks and doubles. He really is. So yeah, I like him a lot. Jayoon says, why not free hit in game week 29? We did talk about it a little bit earlier, but basically I don't think there's that many points to be gained in game week 29 by free hitting. And I think a lot of the players who blank in game week 29, you probably won't want to have too many of them anyway. So I don't think, you know, I think more than likely we're going to be in a good situation for game week 29. But things change. You know, if Chelsea beat Aston Villa, I think I maybe switch on that one a little bit because that removes Arsenal and Chelsea from game week 29. And that would be problematic. So yeah, we'll revisit that, of course. David says, is Gordon a sell? Really, really tough one. Gordon is apparently on crutches right now. He's not in a boot anymore, though. You do have to wonder whether he's going to be available for game week 24. I guess it remains to be seen. So I think keep your ears to the wall on Gordon. I'll try and update you guys on the Friday when we cover the press conferences and team news. I'll try and update you guys on Gordon on Friday because right now I don't know. It's not looking particularly promising. Jacob says, Connor Bradley double game week punt. I personally would like to see Bradley and Trent play together before going in on him. Again, is he a player that's going to cause you problems for 26 and 29 and 28 when he plays Man City? Potentially. Emil says, can Robbo or Van Dijk be a good alternative to Trent if you can't afford him? I mean, Van Dijk has always got potential. If he gets a headed goal, like things are looking great for Van Dijk. But we know that Trent is going to have more opportunities to get attacking returns. You know, he's going to be creative in the open play. He's going to be on set pieces. There's going to be lots of avenues for Trent. So I don't think Trent really covers Van Dijk, if you like. Robbo, I'm still not 100% convinced on his minutes. Maybe he starts to get a bit more, game time. But, again, Robbo, he's not near Trent in terms of the attack, the attacking potential. So, is it a good alternative? Not totally convinced. Gabriel says, Tony in for Watkins or Solanke. I think I would personally wait one more week on Tony. Because Wolves away is not an easy fixture. Wolves actually are pretty decent defence at home. I know Tony can score against anyone, so yeah, I'll be prepared to eat my words on that one. But yeah, I don't think you desperately need Tony for this game week. And particularly, if you're a Solanke owner, what you potentially do is you just take Solanke this game week because Bournemouth have got a good fixture who I can't remember who they play. Is it Fulham? Yeah, Fulham. Solanke against Fulham this week. And then maybe after that, Solanke's got a couple of toughies, Newcastle and then Manchester City. So maybe you bring in Tony for Solanke in game week 25, have Tony ready for his double game week. I think that's probably the way I would go. So if you do want to replace a Watkins or a Solanke with a Tony, I think it's very difficult to sell Watkins right now. After the Manchester United game, Watkins' fixtures are phenomenal. So maybe, wait 1 week, Solanke to Tony. There we go. Beautiful stuff. It's going to be the one. Mark says, is Darwin worth a punt? He is definitely a punt. He will always be a punt. I think potentially worth going for. He would make, the top 3 Liverpool players to go for are probably Jota, Trent, and Darwin. Possibly in that order. So, yeah, why not? Polkit says a comment on early transfers. Sorry, okay, right, that's what you meant. I've never been keen on early transfers, and I never will be. This, like I said, we get so much information from Wednesday night's game. Wednesday night's game, Aston Villa versus Chelsea, tells us whether Arsenal and Chelsea are going to blank in 29, or if Aston Villa and West Ham are going to blank in 29. That's huge news. If Aston Villa beat Chelsea, that is more reason to sell Bowen. It is more reason to sell Watkins potentially. I know that's not going to be an easy decision after this game, but it's definitely something that will have a big impact on our FPL decisions this week. So I'm not keen on early transfers this week. I would wait until at least Wednesday. Of course, the exception is always if you are in danger of getting priced out of moves, whereby you literally would not be able to afford them anymore if they changed price. Then at that point, maybe you are forced to make early transfers and take a risk. But I think information is power. Ob says, Dub mustache. I didn't realize you were getting one. I can't grow the rest of my facial hair. So, we may as well just do the little bit that we can. But yes, the mustache is here. The mullet's on its way as well. So that's a new thing. Quarter life crisis. Let's go, baby. Fardine says, when to buy Garnacho? I don't think he's essential to buy this game week against Aston Villa. Although Aston Villa are missing a couple of defenders now. Missing. So, maybe no Konsa, no Powell. No Dina still. Maybe that's an opportunity. But I don't think Garnacho is the top of your transfer targets. Honestly, I would personally be so focused on double game week 25 players this week. Because like I say, all of the teams, other than maybe Brentford, who double in 25, also have great fixtures in Game Week 24. So those are the players to go for now, surely. Surely. Charlie says Reguilon or Walker. Not massively keen on either, to be honest. I think I'd be focusing my energy more on the attackers. I mean, I guess if you desperately need a new defender, I probably would lean towards Walker. But I'm not completely there. Mark says, is Consa going to be fit for next game? Again, it's not looking likely, but we'll update you guys on Friday. But yeah, it's not looking great for Consa. 410 Film says, getting out of Parma next week. It is definitely an option. Plays against Manchester City in game at 25 and then blanks in 26. I think there's potential there. For me personally, I think I bought Parma at like 5 million. So for me, I've got so much value tied up in him. I don't think I'll be looking to sell him. Particularly if Chelsea get knocked out of the FA Cup on Wednesday, I think Parma becomes a keep. And, maybe you throw him on your bench. I think, in game week 25, you're going to have to bench one of your attackers anyway. So, for example, if I did go Johnson to Jota, then that leaves me with 8 great attackers for game week 25, and I can only play 7 of them. Well, Palmer goes on the bench then, right? Pretty straightforward. So he goes on the bench in 25, goes on the bench in 26. After that, Chelsea play against Brentford, who are conceding goals at the moment, Newcastle, who are conceding goals at the moment, and Chelsea will be one of the few teams that do not blank in game week 29, assuming they get knocked out of the FA Cup on Wednesday. So I think Cole Palmer will become an instant keep. But, that is dependent on, the strength of your team. But a lot of us in the same position right now. We've got 8 strong attackers. So Palmer becomes a very benchable player. So there we go. Bellamy? Does that say Bellamy? Says, still have Salah. Will he play both in the double? I think there is a chance he gets minutes in both of the games in the double. I don't think he'll start both games in the double. Kasia says, KDB versus Salah when fit again. Short-term KDB. I think I prefer KDB for the double game week. And I prefer that KDB has a fixture in game week 26. And again, looking at game week 26, Bournemouth. It's not too bad, is it? It's not too bad. You take it. And I think we're pretty much done on this stream, I think. Joali says quickly, is Doughty a good option? He's a good option as long as you can cover him in game week 26. If you've got a plan for him in game week 26, happy to bench him. You can get him without being forced into, using chips you don't want to use or taking minuses that you don't want to take. Then he's absolutely a fine pick because we've got a good fixture now and a double game week after that. Mr. Scruffy Mrs. Lot says, do you have your favourite Wolves defender? Yeah, Nori would be him. Thomas says, Foden was great today. Haaland's still not in form. You've got to have some patience with Haaland. It's why I didn't captain him in game week 23, to be honest. I mean, I think as brilliant as he is, you can't expect him to just be like an insane mega beast on his first game back. Like, we've got to have some patience. But he will be back. Believe me, he will be back. And it could be Everton will be his time to shine. But anyway, guys, we're going to leave it there. Do really appreciate you guys joining me on this Monday evening. Always nice to do a post-match stream. I'm going to be going to bed very, very happy today with a very healthy score of 93. There it is. It's updated now. 93 points. Oh, what a day. What a day. Hopefully you guys did very well as well. And we can all start rising through these ranks together as we approach the crazy part of the FPL season. The best part of the FPL season. I love this part so much. So, yeah, guys, make sure you drop a like before you disappear. If you want to check out our tier list video, that dropped earlier today, this afternoon. So go check out the tier list video. And we'll be back tomorrow with Buy, Sell, Keeper Boyd, where I've got to talk about why I said Cunha was a sell. Looking forward to that one, guys. I will see you there tomorrow, and I will see you later, mates. Cheers, guys. Bye-bye.